The role of Pakistan in Afghanistan is only getting clearer by the day. The Afghan ambassador to Tajikistan has now come on record to confirm the involvement of Pakistan in Afghanistan and goes on to say that it was Pakistan that was attacking the resistance forces in the Panjshir Valley. Here's how Pakistan has once again been exposed, and then we debate.
Taliban mounted their Islamic Emirate flags in Panjshir, Afghanistan. They claimed Panjshir was conquered. The Northern Alliance and the Resistance Front have claimed in the last few days that Taliban was assisted by the Pakistan Army and the Air Force, something that Islamabad has denied several times.
من بزودی یک قیام ملی را و یک قیام عمومی را در سرتاسر افغانستان بر علیه طالبان اعلام میکنم. از این طریق میخواهم به تمام مردم افغانستان، مجاهدان و مقاومتگرانی که در هر گوشه افغانستان است بگویم که برای یک قیام عمومی و ملی در سرتاسر افغانستان آماده باشند. من تاریخ این قیام را از طریق همین رسانه ها اعلام خواهم کرد و آرزو دارم که این پایان کار یک گروه مزدور و اجنبی و دست نشانده باشد.
For the first time since the attack last week, there is an official confirmation as the Afghanistan ambassador to Tajikistan exposes the truth about Pakistan's role.
What is the information that you have that you would like to share? Because a lot of people in India want to know where Amrullah Saleh is he safe? They want to know where Ahmad Masood is. And they want to know whether both of them who are fighting for the rights of the Afghan people, not just for Panjshir, but for the Afghan people, they want to know whether they are safe. And where are they?
یگانه سیاستمدار و رهبری که در نظام گذشته کار میکرد و مطرح بود فعلا در جبهه در برابر تروریست‌ها ایستاده است امرالله صالح است.
The only figure from the former government, from the former cabinet members that has always fought and stood up in Afghanistan is President Amrullah Saleh, who is residing in Panjshir.
امرالله صالح مطابق با ماده 60 و 67 قانون اساسی افغانستان امروز جانشین رئیس جمهور در افغانستان است.
In accordance to the Constitution of Afghanistan, Articles 60 and 67, President Saleh is the acting president of Afghanistan.
امرالله صالح فعلا به عنوان رئیس جمهور افغانستان در پنجشیر قرار دارد.
Therefore, as the president of Afghanistan, Amrullah Saleh is in Panjshir.
نیروهای مقاومت هم که قبلا ترتیب تنظیم شده بود تحت ریاست آقای احمد مسعود فرزند قهرمان ملی افغانستان.
And the resistance forces who is headed by the son of our national hero Ahmad Shah Massoud, his son Ahmad Massoud.
اونا در افغانستان قرار دارند.
And they are in Afghanistan.
So you're saying, I mean that's very, very big. So you're saying that he's very much there in Panjshir and he's fighting with the people of Panjshir. Now that's very, very significant.
He also confirmed what Republic reported earlier, that Amrullah Saleh was still in Panjshir fighting with the forces. Pakistan has not yet reacted to the ambassador's allegation.
این یک سوالی است که مثل بگوییم که آفتاب وجود نداره.
I think this is a question that the way that we state is like if we say there is no sun that exists.
این تمام نیروهای طالب‌ها از پاکستان تعلیم و تربیت یافتند با همکاری پاکستان در افغانستان آمدند.
All of these Taliban members are trained and equipped in Pakistan, and they came to Afghanistan from Pakistan.
درست قبل یکی از رهبران طالب‌ها افشا کرد که این کابینه را که بر ما رئیس استخبارات پاکستان ایجاد کرده این سرنوشت‌هاست برای مردم افغانستان نیست.
2 days ago, a leader of the Taliban stated that the cabinet that the head of ISI of Pakistan had shared, it isn't for the good of the people.
There are global demands to sanction Pakistan. Now that the charge is official, will the world take note? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Joining me on this debate is Major General K.K. Sidha, Major General Sudhakar, Hashim Vedatiyar, Ali Sina Sarabi, Mohsin Raza Khan and Faraz Saeed. Let me begin this debate with Faraz Saeed and Hashim Wadatyar. Mr. Wadatyar, today we have guests coming in from Pakistan. Pakistan all this while has been denying, saying that there is no involvement whatsoever with what's actually happening in Panjshir. You've been closely tracking all developments in Panjshir. So tonight, Hashim Wadatyar, I want you to tell all our Pakistani guests who are joining on this broadcast as to how their nefarious acts have been exposed in Panjshir.
Good evening there. It's not a surprise. It is not a big issue. Just wait, and very soon the leader of the Pakistan themselves will confirm that they attack on Panjshir and they interfere on Afghan issues. As you received like recently, that Imran Khan, the leader of Pakistan, Parvez Musharraf and the others clearly says that they trained Al-Qaeda, they train Haqqani network, they equip these terrorists, and they send it to Afghanistan to fight, to destabilize Afghanistan and to fight the international community. So just wait a little bit, and the leaders of the Pakistan themselves will confirm, not others. So it's a very clear issue. It is like you see a sun on the sky, that the Pakistan is behind all this catastrophe, not only in Afghanistan, but the region, and it also failed the international mission in Afghanistan. The treasuries who spend like up to $2 trillion in Afghanistan, and over 2,400 international community troops, civilians, and others were killed in Afghanistan. But here are some important points that I want to highlight. Okay, number one, there are also indifferences just started between the leaders of the Taliban and the Pakistani authorities. One of the objectives of the head of the ISI coming to Kabul was that to make sure that the Taliban leaders are not going out of their control and influence. The problem, the dilemma that Islamabad faces is three things. Number one, the Islamabad thinks that the leadership of the Taliban who are based in Quetta, the Quetta leaders of the Taliban, they have moved from Quetta to Kandahar. Number two, the political leaders of the Taliban who are based in Qatar and having had frequent visits from Qatar to Pakistan and going back to Qatar, they have moved to Kabul. Third, their military commissions based in Pakistan, they have gone to Afghanistan now because Afghanistan is, the Taliban are controlling. So the dilemma that Pakistan is having, that to make sure that they are not losing the control and influence over the Taliban. Another important issue is that the conversation that I had with the Taliban leaders in Qatar and also with Mullah Zaif, the leaders in Kabul, we had a detailed conversation about all the issues. Another conflict between Islamabad and the Taliban that has newly emerged is that Pakistan is trying to show to the international community that Islamabad is representing Taliban in international platforms, in a foreign policy, and they want to convince the leaders of the Taliban that they are mullahs and they are religious scholars and they don't know the international norms, standards, and laws, so let Islamabad to represent them. However, some of the Taliban leaders counter-argue this and want to convince the Taliban and the world, the Pakistan and the world, that Mahmoud Qureshi is the foreign minister of Pakistan. He's not the foreign minister of Taliban. And the Taliban want to independently engage with the rest of the world. That is one of the issues. The other issue that the Pakistanis are trying is that some of the leaders of the Northern Alliance, they have kept in Islamabad. If the Taliban does not obey the order of Islamabad, so the Islamabad will use these non-Pashtun and non-Taliban leaders who are sitting in Islamabad right now, like Qanuni, Khalili, Muhaqqiq, Pedram, Ahmad Zia Massoud, Ahmadui Massoud, the brothers of Ahmad Shah Massoud. They are sitting right now in Islamabad. They have been kept by the Pakistanis in order to show to the Taliban they should not go out of the control of the Pakistanis. Another update is that some of the leaders of the Taliban, like a lot of them, they want to obey the order of the Pakistanis, but some of the leaders of the Taliban, they believe that within the region, it is hard to govern in Afghanistan. For that purpose, they want to have good relationship with all the region, including India. But this is a big problem for Islamabad, that they do not want the Taliban to engage with India.
I also want to bring in Mohsin Raza Khan, who's joining us from Islamabad. Mr. Raza Khan, you've heard what Hashim had to point out. Mr. Hashim has pointed out exactly the interference of Pakistan. There is a growing clamor against Pakistan's involvement in Afghanistan. Many are calling it is nothing but a direct invasion of Pakistan in Afghanistan. So, Mr. Raza Khan, how much would you still go on to deny?
You know better than anyone that Taliban has won this battle and defeated the superpower like United States, and there is no witness and there is no evidence about Pakistan involvement in the war. Although the American
Mr. Raza Khan, since Mr. Raza Khan, I was aware, Mr. Raza Khan, I was aware that you would come up with such rhetoric tonight, but unfortunately, I'll not let that happen. Hashim Vaidatiyar, tonight all our Pakistani people, guests who have come in, I'll also, Mr. Raza Khan, what I'll essentially do is I'll put out some proof. Mr. Raza Khan, you are saying, Mohsin Raza Khan, you are saying that there is no involvement of Pakistan. Hashim has pointed out just a while ago, you've had the ISI chief camping in Kabul. He's been clicked by local journalists. You've had the ISI chief having deliberations with Taliban, and almost everyone knows about the fact. Iran has responded. Iran has responded directly by saying that it is high time that Pakistan does not interfere with the local matters of Afghanistan. But clearly, Pakistan is in no mood to listen.
No, the Iranian intelligence chief was in Pakistan to consult with the regional intelligence chief in Islamabad and the invitation of ISI, and they have consulted Pakistan ISI with regional intelligence agencies on Afghanistan issue, and there is no one has alleged that Pakistan involvement in Afghanistan, but it is only the propaganda of India and the
You keep on repeating. Major General KK Sinha, please come in, and I want you to tell Mohsin Raza Khan as well as Faraz Saeed, tell our Pakistani guests, Major General KK Sinha, about the time that they go on harping that there is no involvement of Pakistan in Afghanistan. That's what they say. There is enough evidence to prove otherwise. Why don't we put out all the facts about Pakistan's involvement in Afghanistan, direct interference, something that the locals, something that the Afghans have made it abundantly clear that they do not want Pakistan to interfere.
All right. We have got two guests from Pakistan, and you told me that we have to tell him, Raja Khan and other guy. See, look, Pranjal, Pakistan involvement, I will take it back from the date, from today onwards, and don't go backwards, last 20 years. And if you go, 40 years back, I will go. I will start off what is now involvement. The Pakistan's involvement in Afghanistan through Haqqani network, which is absolutely controlled by them. And what, our guest from US was saying, and what he is saying that, they want to keep some of the people of Taliban as a leverage to control Taliban. Taliban, they want to control it through, what the Kotwa Surah, which has come up, not through that. The surah which was there in the northern Balochistan area, especially from Haqqani, Sirajuddin Haqqani, Khalil Haqqani, Anas Haqqani is in a big way is controlling it, which is out, and everyone knows about it. Let's come back to the ISI chief, his visit over there, 11 Corps commander over there, 2 SSG battalion getting involved in it, complete artillery, the 2 regiments getting involved in it. Now the Tajikistan ambassador now officially telling the Pakistan Air Force, which is crumbled in that area, not only with the fighter.
Faraz Saeed.
Yeah.
Major General KK Sir, at the moment you've started putting out facts about Pakistan's involvement, I see my guest from Lahore, Faraz Saeed, he's nodding his head in disagreement. Mr. Saeed, what is it that you find very amusing, especially when we are putting out all facts, and these are all facts that have been verified on the ground?
So, Shavan, I've been following whatever Republic has been reporting from Afghanistan, and I think each and every breaking news from your screen has been later termed as fake by your own media and by your own journalists in India in their exposés. The video of Pakistan bombing Panjshir was absolutely fake, which was a video game. Then the fighter jet that was shown as an F-16 that landed in Panjshir or was destroyed, that was in UK. So
Faraz Saeed,
have been manufactured.
Faraz Saeed, before you continue,
every fact.
Faraz Saeed, before you continue, with your monologue about Indian news channels coverage, let me just tell you one thing. I have had reporters. I have reporters in Panjshir. Some of the reporters who have been beaten up brutally by Taliban. I'm not putting out any of those images endangering their lives. But let me tell you, Faraz Saeed, for once, unlike the kind of complicity, the kind of protection given by the Pakistan government to Pakistani journalists entering Afghanistan, putting out wrong reports, Indian news channels have had local Afghans who have worked for us. They have putting their own lives on risk, reported from Panjshir. So Faraz Saeed, I will not let you the sacrifices made by local Afghan journalists reporting for Indian news channels be a waste. And when you continue saying that it is not Pakistan, which is, there's been no involvement. There have been ID cards of Pakistani army recovered by the resistance forces. The resistance forces have recovered ID cards of Pakistani army from Panjshir that has been released officially.
That's false propaganda. That's absolutely propaganda. But you see, I want to respond to your guest from Washington. What he said earlier, that Pakistan has somehow trained the Haqqanis, the Talibans.
Can you refute, my friend? Can you refute the co-commander of 11 Corps
lesson where it was not just Pakistan? It was back in 80s.
Should I tell you the name?
United States, the entire world. They made up.
No.
They made up the resistance.
No, you are
against
debating
the
with
Soviets
me.
back then. Why is it Pakistan being pinpointed in the end? It's not just us.
The day one you have been pinpointed.
Major General KK Sinha has a question for you, Faraz.
Yeah.
Major General KK Sinha has a question for you, Faraz, and then I'll ask Hashim to also come in. But Major General KK Sinha, first respond to what Faraz Saeed is saying. Ask your question.
Please.
Faraj, can you tell me? I will take. You said these are all fake news. We have, not the India has got the evidence. The world has got evidence. Those iCard which has been, come out in public domain are not by India. It is not from the media, not Republic TV which has been shown that. It is not that the 11th Corps commander over there, it is not the name has come out from the Republic TV. The name of the people who are involved, including 97 deaths and the wounded who are being treated in Peshawar in the military hospital. Why you are laughing? Those are not jokes. Your UAV which was used and that has hit, on those targets,
Faraj,
your people were controlling it, is already out.
If I can respond to General
ambassador, he is not in India. He's sitting in Pakistan.
Faraz Saeed, I'll give you 30 seconds. Major General KK Sinha, what I'll do right now, all my guests, if you all are in agreement, what I'll do tonight is, because this is I came prepared because I knew my Pakistani guests will ask for evidence. They'll come up with the rhetoric that everything is a fake news. So Faraz, I'll give you 30 seconds to respond. Till that time, I'll ask my producers to put that interview that we played right at the beginning of this debate, the interview of the Afghan envoy in Tajikistan. Listen to what he had to say about Pakistan's involvement. We'll get that ready. But Faraz, respond, and then I want you to listen very carefully, Afghan envoy to Tajikistan, what did he have to say to my colleague earlier in the day about Pakistan's involvement? And then I'll debate with you once again about the kind of rhetoric that you are putting out once again tonight.
Go
ahead, respond.
But your guest from New Delhi said that we have footages of apparently our men, our soldiers dying in Afghanistan. But the idea is your General G.D. Bakshi the other night shared and retweeted one of the picture of our celebrities acting in some kind of film, and he retweeted that picture and said that these are the people who died, and apparently those celebrities are happily acting in our films and movies.
These are not war.
I think
it is a proxy war which you are doing
there. When you share,
friend, it is not a war on Twitter. Please understand this. It is a serious war which you are doing in a country which is you are not supposed to be in. You are doing in the Panjshir area, which has Iranian has got to prove. It is the Tajik has got to prove. The Russians will very soon will come in.
I think
what you are trying.
I think
it is not the
gave me the time, and I just
across.
Expressed what my opinion is on the question, but the
your rhetoric will not go into this fake way.
Just had to interrupt and shout at me, and that's
not.
wrong.
I'm shouting. I'm putting the facts in a stronger way. That's all. I'm not shouting you down.
Me to finish. If you could allow me to finish and then repeat.
Come out. Why are using the name of General Bakshi? General Bakshi is Indian. Why you are not talking about? Why you are not talking about Iranian? Why you are not talking about Tajiks? Who are telling? Why you are taking the name of General Bakshi's tweet? It is not a Twitter war. It is a war which is happening on ground, which is very serious.
You're not, General Sahib, you're not commanding here a battalion who you're going to order or something or
shout down. But your Corps Commander, 11th Corps Commander, your ISI Chief is not commanding in Panjshir. Please understand this.
You cannot shout.
Your 11th Corps Commander.
Major General KK Sinha, let me do something. Because Major General KK Sinha and Major General Sudhakar,
responsible on you.
Faraz, you had a problem. Faraz, you had a question for Hashim also. Mr. Hashim Vaidyatyar also. I want Hashim Vaidyatyar and Faraz Saeed on the window right now. And Hashim Vaidyatyar, listen to our Pakistani guest. He has a question for you. He's raising suspicion about what you have essentially said at the beginning in your opening statement. Faraz, go ahead, ask your question to Hashim.
Well, I did hear that. First of all, I would like to thank my friend in Pakistan.
I'll get Faraz to ask you that question once. Faraz, what is it that you don't believe? Because Hashim Vaidyatyar is someone who's considered a renowned person who has had a very good understanding of what's actually happening in Afghanistan. So before you doubt his credentials and you once again have a problem with what he's essentially told, the entire global community has taken every word of what Mr. Hashim has put out in the last several weeks very seriously. And that is the reason why today we have invited him on this broadcast. It's important that we have people, Afghans, coming out and speaking about Pakistan's involvement, which is only creating more problems. So for us, what is it that you still don't believe as to what Mr. Hashim had to say?
So, Mr. Hashim, with all due respect, would you like to answer about those fake footages that Republic TV ran about the missiles that were being fired? That was a video game. About the fake Pakistani fighter jet that was claimed to be Pakistani, but it was actually somewhere in UK or US. Was that true? Was that true also?
Well, first of all, I would like to...
Then the rest of the story was also fake.
Yes, I did hear you very well and understand all the questions you posed. So I kindly request you to now listen to me, that I want to put everything clear. I would like to thank you for these questions because the audience wants to know the answers and I want to answer you one by one. First, the attack in Panjshir, where the Pakistani nationals are involved there are a number of proofs and evidence that Pakistani officers and the Pakistani nationals are incarcerated by the National Resistance Front in Panjshir. The fighters of Ahmad Massoud, and Amrullah Saleh. And I have been constantly in talking with the circle of Amrullah Saleh there. It is not something that I want to blame Pakistanis. The civilians, Pakistani people, they are great people, but these are the facts, and facts are painful. I'm sorry for that. That's one. The second thing I want to mention is that another colleague of you in Pakistan also asked this, and I want to thank him for that there is no proofs and they're all fake. Number one, look, Imran Khan is the Prime Minister of Pakistan, not Afghanistan. He came here in Washington, D.C., and clearly in a think tank said that Pakistan created the Taliban and Pakistan supported the Taliban and Al-Qaeda to fight in Afghanistan. Imran Khan is the Prime Minister. That is one. Number two, Pervez Musharraf was also the Pakistani president, not Afghan president, not Indian president. He himself said that the ISI and the army of Pakistan created the Taliban and supported and equipped the Taliban to fight in Afghanistan in the interest of Pakistan. Okay, so these are all the proofs. It's very simple. You don't need to go and pay for somebody or for a database to extract all this information. Simply go to YouTube, type this, and you will get these all the things. Okay, that is another thing that I want to mention. Quetta Council of the Taliban. Quetta is one of the biggest city of Pakistan. Quetta is not in India. Quetta is not in Afghanistan, neither in Iran. Quetta leaders. Mullah Baradar, who went from Qatar to Pakistan, he himself said, Mullah Baradar said that we always come from Qatar to Pakistan to consult our leaders in Pakistan. Simply go to YouTube, and you will hear by him yourself what Mullah Baradar is saying. There is not 1, 3, 5, or 10 evidence. There are tens and tens of evidence that Pakistan is involved in this fighting. What important thing is, more important than the proof and evidence, is that I feel sorry, and I feel like I do not want the Pakistani, the civilians, they're great people. I do not want them to reap what they saw in Afghanistan and in the region. That is not conducive, that is not representative for the Pakistanis, to the Pakistani national, to the government of Pakistan. So I want to talk constructively. It's not something that I want to just simply blame and put it on the Pakistanis. Authentically, you as a mature gentleman that I have full respect to you, just open your minds and just think for the past 20 and 30 and 40 years what Pakistani has been doing in Afghanistan. That is not good for neither for Afghanistan, nor for the region, nor for the Pakistani themselves. We do not want bombs and killings and target killings and anything in Pakistan. That's not good for Pakistan. Very politely and respectfully and constructively.
May I come in, please? Will you give me a chance to say something?
Faraz, I'll give you an opportunity. Major General Sudhakar, Hashim makes a fantastic point tonight, and perhaps it's time that everyone opens up. And in fact, I would also, request for us to at least for once not advocate their own government, and for that matter, their own Pakistani army, and actually listen to what Hashim has to say. And Major General Sudhakar, I'll tell you from my own experience of covering Afghanistan, being in that country, my friends back in Afghanistan, they have been saying that we are now tired of this war that has been waged. And now with Pakistan's involvement, they're certainly tired of what's actually happening. As far as India's role is concerned, Major General Sudhakar, we've had a very constructive role. We have ensured that the bond between both the countries actually increased, but something that is not perhaps much to the chagrin of Pakistan, and that is the reason why somewhere down the line there has been an active involvement right now to ensure that India is essentially blocked.
You're not audible. I couldn't get the question. Can you repeat the question, please? Hello?
Major General Sudhakar, all that I want to put out tonight, something, an extension to what Mr. Hashim had to say, that today Afghans are tired of the war that has been waged. It is the Afghans who are facing the wrath of this shadow boxing that is actually going on. Pakistan has their own vested interest, but unfortunately what we are missing out is the larger picture. What is it that the local Afghans, what are they facing? What are they going through?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me and giving me a chance. I've just come back from Middle East. Also, I was dealing with Afghanistan when I was in service. Let me tell you, the matter is very serious, and I must compliment the co-panelist from Washington, D.C. and General Sena for bringing out the fact on the ground. It's just a matter of time. Our co-panelist from Pakistan will bear me out that everything, you are simply replicating the events which unfolded during the operation in Kargil few years back against India. Your statement, your response was just the same. We should not look for events. I'm saying events are very far-fetched. There is no point having an argument. There is a very serious global order at stake of civil society. The larger picture is that does the global order bow down before the power of the gun? Or should we respect the rules-based international order? That is the bigger question we need to answer. If the rules-based international order is to be honored and respected as a component of a civil society, then we all must put our acts together. It's no point having our Pakistani counterparts on 6th of September, same Republic channel, when I was given a chance by Arnav to speak something. The geography of Panjshir is such, except for the troops of Alexander the Great and Timur, nobody had the capability and capacity to climb the mountains, clear them off, and go on to the passes to Badakhshan province and the plains of Panjshir. It is very, very difficult merely driving along the road of Panjshir River. I have been there myself. I have seen the ground. They are dominated by low hill features, very formidable features. Unless these hill features are captured, the military science says anyone who is in Panjshir cannot fall to the attacker. It is not that easy. It's just a matter of time. This National Resistance Force on the front will recapture Panjshir and further expand towards recapturing the entire Afghanistan. Kindly bear me out. I have got figures. There are people who are dead. There are 7 officers, 12 JCOs, 75 other ranks. You will say this is a propaganda. I have got solid source and contact who have confirmed that these many people of Pakistan Army of SSG battalion, the commanding officer is dead. They have already reached Peshawar, Swat and Quetta MH. They're overflowing. There is no space to actually carry out the final rites. Major General Adil Rahman is back to organize the district funeral, by the way, at night, the way it happened during Kargil war. And let me also share something. The internal cracks, the fault line of Pakistan have started showing up. There is a change of command. General Birja has been changed from Chief of General Staff to Corps Headquarters. There are many other things. Give the chance to whoever wish to. At the moment, I want to make this point to nail down the point that evidence or no evidence, going by mere chronology of events and sequence of events, why were DGISI there in Kabul? Who gave him the permission? What did he indicate? 2 sovereign countries. Pakistan is a peace-loving country. Who gave permission to Pakistan to invade into Afghanistan and conduct and orchestrate this war in Panjshir? Do you remember in 2014, Russia invaded
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Major General Sudhakar, Faraz Saeed, you seem to be amused. You seem to be amused. Almost everyone. You don't want to believe what the Indians have to say. You don't want to believe what the Afghans have to say. You will believe your own propaganda. You will call everything else propaganda. But the fact of the matter is, as you speak, Mohsin Raza Khan and Faraz Saeed, what we have also been doing is putting out images that we have accessed right from our reporters on the ground who have been covering it. So Mohsin Raza Khan, respond to what Major General Sudhakar had to say. Major General Sudhakar has put out figures of your Pakistani soldiers, the soldiers who lost their lives fighting the National Resistance Force.
There is more to it. There are 5 officers, 9 JCOs, 160 other ranks who are wounded.
Show us the document. If I could request to send in the documents, so I can recheck them, so I can, confirm them. We don't have such documents.
My dear friend.
Of course you will not. Of course you will not. Faraz, why will you?
Pakistan is going to be on the knees very soon. It is too serious to be joked around and laughed in such an important media. This is the only agency, this is the only network and channel which is giving out very factual inputs. I can vouch for it. I have got all the respect for the public. They do not say anything which is other than
Pakistan is the only serious stakeholder in the entire Afghan unraveling, where Pakistanis sent their delegation in Afghanistan so we can have some kind of security arrangement that the entire fallout could not become a burden on Pakistan. You see, we as a country who share more than 2,700 kilometers of the border with Afghanistan, we are the last ones to appreciate or have an atmosphere that we can have some kind of security challenges on our border. I don't understand, why do Indians think, why do the analysts in India or Afghanistan think that we are
my dear friend, this is the paradox of reality that you are talking.
Who lost.
While your statement is well taken, but it is not taken in the leadership.
In the past 20 years, post 9/11, after Afghanistan, Pakistan was one of the country who was
I also have Ali Sira Sarabi, who's been waiting very patiently.
Lost in the economy.
Faraz,
officers were
okay. Faraz, what I'll do is my endeavor. Faraz, what I'll do is my endeavor has been. Faraz, my endeavor has been.
Back to the anchor.
Not only put out the perspective that India has, we've also got an Afghanistan perspective, trying to put out all facts which you've very conveniently dismissed. But tonight, what I also want you to do, for the sake of humanity, Faraz, for the sake of humanity at least, listen to what Afghans have to say. Because a lot of Afghans have said that stop this India-Pakistan business, because at the end of the day, it is we Afghans who are suffering. So tonight what we are going to do, tonight we are going to let an Afghan speak his mind of what his family is actually going through. So Ali Sira Sarabi is an Afghan student currently in India, joining us from Mysore. Ali Sira Sarabi, I'm very sorry for, making you wait for this long. But Ali, tonight I want you to tell everyone who's watching, tell everyone of the difficulties that perhaps one has to go through, leaving their own homeland, seeing their homeland being invaded time and again. First it was the Soviets, then you've had the people from the United States of America. Now, in a way, it's Pakistan.
Thank you very much. I hope that I'm audible. Actually, yeah, it's very true. It's crystal clear as we are seeing that Pakistan is invading Afghanistan along with Taliban, and they are helping people, helping the Taliban to stand against resistance troops. And it's been very clear throughout the history, as you mentioned, the invasion of Russia, USSR, and invasion of Britain. So as a student, I feel like Pakistan has to stop all these atrocities, war atrocities that has been going on in Afghanistan since so long. The Afghan people are suffering a lot. Like as a student, I am suffering here. Apart from my family, I cannot tell in words. Like, I'm staying here in India. I am studying here, but all I am doing is concerned, being worried about my family. They are stuck in Afghanistan. They cannot. Actually, I'm thankful to India that Indian government announced emergency visa for Afghans who are wanting to come to India. But Taliban, they are not allowing anybody to travel. And who is behind all these things? Pakistan has been a safe haven for terrorism and terrorists. Everybody knows that, as Mr. Wahdat said, it's very clear, and we have to wait. We have to wait until their own delegation, their own dignities, they will declare that everything is like a sun in the sky, like a day. It's very clear. Thank you very much.
Mohsin Raza Khan, I've had two guests.
30 years.
Hashim, is there anything that you want to say? Because I'm told that you want to leave, so I want to give one last word to Hashim, and then I'll take it to our Pakistani guests. Hashim Vaidyatyar, I want you to make one final comment to all our Pakistani guests, but no matter how much, no matter the effort that we are trying to put across by saying that, look here, go beyond this, this entire thing, this shadow boxing that you've been doing, this fog of war that you've basically started, but somewhere down the line, they don't seem to be convinced. But still, one last attempt, Hashim, I want you to tell our Pakistani guests, we have heard so many discourses over the last couple of minutes, but they refuse to believe what's actually happening on the ground.
Yeah, first of all, I'm very sorry that I have to leave because I have an interview with Al Jazeera, but two very quick points that I want to mention. First, to my colleagues and my friends in Pakistan, that the head of ISI, when he visited Kabul, he was an uninvited guest. He was not invited by the Taliban, and there are proofs and evidence. When the Taliban took over Kabul, Mahmoud Qureshi, the foreign minister of Pakistan, he wanted to go to Kabul, and it was announced, but then the Taliban rejected not having him in Kabul. Then the Islamabad tried to secure an invitation from the leaders of the Taliban, but ISI was not invited. Then what happened was that a Pakistani, the ambassador in Qatar, met with Mullah Abbas Tanikzai and some political leaders of the Taliban in Qatar, and even they did not give them like invitation for the head of ISI to come to Kabul. They just received just a verbal okay without invitation. There is no invitation, and he entered to Kabul without any visa, and he was in Serena Hotel when the Pakistani ambassador was running here and there in order to convince some of the ministers or some of the leaders of the Taliban in order to meet the head of ISI. He was an uninvited head of ISI. That's one point. One other point is that, look, one of my Afghan fellow, he just spoke at this TV right now, like a minute before or two. The Afghans refused and migrated to Pakistan, but the Pakistani forces recruited them, trained them as the Taliban fighters or other fighters or suiciders, and sent them to Afghanistan. But whenever any Afghans goes to India, they are either treated in India, or they are economists, they are doctors, or they are engineers in India. Have a wonderful evening.
What about 3 million Afghans that we
thank you very much, Hashim, for us.
Gave our land, gave our resources. We treated them as brothers, and we're still treating them as brothers. Hosting them, giving our land, sharing our resources. We had a burden on our economy. We're still suffering, but we still share our food with them, our resources with them. They are big businessmen in Pakistan. They have great resources that we provided them, we shared with them. If you can give me the number, how many Afghans did you hosted as refugees, as brothers? If you can come up with a number. I have over 3 million Afghan refugees, brothers in Pakistan.
That point is not contested. Yes, we appreciate that there are close to 4 million, 2.6 plus 1.4 million. Sorry, General Sinha wants to say something. Sir, please. I didn't see. Okay.
Sawan, if you permit.
I'll take the chance.
Sorry, you can
after you're finished.
Yeah. Sawan, what I want to bring it out, you know, he's talking
Major
about
General Sudhakar, you were just making a point. Major General KK Sinha, just hold on. I just want Major General Sudhakar to respond to what Faraz has to say. Faraz, you know, I can tell you this much. Because as a journalist who's been in Kabul, covered several of the elections that have taken place in the country, at least 2 elections that I've been part of, I can tell you one thing, that when it comes to the kind of engagement that India has had on the ground, that cannot be contested in any ways. But since you want more facts, I want Major General Sudhakar to also come in, because he's also someone who's been there on the ground, seen the kind of development that has taken place and the India-Afghanistan engagement. And then perhaps we'll take forward as to what Mohsin also has to say.
All I'm saying is it's about time that Pakistan realizes that it is walking into a trap. Sooner or later, the same Taliban is going to slap on your face. I'm forewarning, Pakistan will be on the knees, you will be bleeding. These people cannot be trusted. Secondly, the point you are making is, yes, it is very well taken. Pakistan is sharing the burden or responsibility of looking after maximum number of refugees. Statistically speaking, it is 2.6 as per the UNHCR record. But I know for sure, on ground, you people are looking after far more than that. It's highly appreciable. Compliments for that. But the major issue, you being so educated, so well aware of your international rules and regulations, I'm sure at least go back from this channel after the show with a well-acknowledged fact in your heart and mind that this business is too serious. We are taking it too far. And Pakistan has to pay the price for it. Why I am saying is, you don't know, I want to reconfirm certain facts that the Pakistan army is going through a huge turbulence. You may or may not be knowing. There is a change of command structure. The command structure is directly related to failure in operation in Panjshir. The Chief of General Staff, General Mirza, had been shifted to 10 Corps, and Lieutenant General Oshia, Oshia Muslim, he is being brought as Chief of General Staff, which has never happened in the past. This is basically to balance out the Tehrik Taliban and the Taliban and also Haqqanis. Okay, and there is also the DGISI. I have got the details here. DGISI, it's very unfortunate. I won't like to actually, after all, we are soldiers. I won't like to paint a picture. There is a charge sheet which has been prepared by the Adjutant General. He is going to be marched up under the charge sheet for many infamous activities that he has indulged in Kabul, in Serena Hotel. Okay, I won't like to, as a soldier, with due respect to his rank and seniority, I would like to refrain from all this. So there is a huge puzzle taking place in Pakistan Army. There is a huge turbulence. The number of casualties which are built up in past 48 hours is actually not, I can't believe that there is such a huge casualty. Yeah, please.
I'm also running out of time, so I just want Major General KK Sinha, a quick response, and then I'll give the last word to our Pakistani guests also.
Okay. Yeah, Sir. Thank you very much. What, where it has been left, I will just add, certain thing about the refugees, what he is talking about. See, what has happened out of that, whatever they are claiming, they're claiming 3 million. I take it, okay, 3 million. But the record, what earlier regime and now what happened. Most of the thing, Haqqani network is selected out of this people who have come from there. And they are put. Now what is happening? Why this Haqqani network again has come? Khalid Haqqani has been made the refugee in charge. He's the minister. And his job is solely
there's a 5 million bounty on his head. Major General KK Sinha, yes. Major General KK Sinha, what is very surprising is that there is many would say on a lighter note that this is nothing but a terror cabinet that has been run by Taliban. But Faraz Saeed as well as Mohsin Raza Khan, one last word to you. Your DGISI, who was basically camping in Kabul at Serena Hotel, was uninvited. You've heard our guests from Afghanistan telling you that. You've heard a young student bearing his heart out about the difficulties that they are facing. When will Pakistan essentially understand that, Faraz and Mohsin?
I am thankful to General Sinha and Sudhakar for paying a tribute to Pakistan Army, for defeating America, India, and 40 countries of NATO. That is really a tribute to Pakistan Army by the Indian generals. And whatever happened to Pakistan, it is a question. It is your wishes and whims, but Pakistan has played a vital role in liberating Afghanistan. And
Mohsin Raza Khan, our generals are true soldiers. Major Mohsin, our generals who are there on this broadcast are true. They are true soldiers. They are true soldiers. They are ethical soldiers. Unlike your army. I don't want to get into this also. I don't want to get into this. But since you made this point, I'm not going to let you go by just simply making that callous statement on behalf of the generals who've been part of this entire broadcast. Mohsin, let me just remind you. Before we end this broadcast, since you spoke about our generals, I would like to tell you only one thing. Please go and ask your own government. Please ask your army what happened during the Kargil war when you left your own soldiers. You did not want to claim their bodies too. So you should be the last person to lecture us and our soldiers, our true soldiers, of what they should be doing. And the fact of the matter is that, you can keep on daydreaming, thinking that Pakistan has defeated Pakistan has defeated NATO, Pakistan has defeated everyone possibly on planet Earth. But having said that, it was a serious issue that was raised by Major General Sudhakar. But once again, it's unfortunate that our guests from Pakistan, they want to dismiss the ground realities. We have put out voices from Afghanistan for us. Unfortunately, you did not want to hear that too.
Savanthi, if I can tell you one big objective of General Fayaz's visit to Kabul was a kind of security arrangement with the stakeholders in Kabul, so that the entire fallout does not extend to our border.
Come on, please.
The Americans left us. The Americans left us back in 90s.
Who are you?
Gentlemen, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time right now. I'm running out of time. Gentlemen, I'm running out of time. So I'm running out of time. Major General K.K. Sinha, Major General Sudhakar, thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on this broadcast. Mohsin Raza Khan and Faraz Saeed also, thank you very much.